Nobody told me that privacy was something you had to learn. I grew up in a home where things were said openly, where money was discussed at the dinner table, where disagreements were aired and feelings were shared, and where I suppose I absorbed the idea that openness was a virtue. It took me most of my adult life to understand that openness and oversharing are not the same thing, and that the line between them, once crossed, is very difficult to walk back. There are 6 things I want to talk to you about today. 6 things that I believe, with complete conviction after 70 years, should be kept private. Not hidden, not lied about, simply kept close. Come sit with me. I have been married 3 times. I have 3 adult children, and I have made enough mistakes in this life to have earned a few opinions worth sharing. Pour yourself something warm. Let us talk. The first thing to keep private is your financial situation. I do not mean you should lie about money. I mean that the specific details, the actual numbers, the precise shape of what you have and what you do not have should not be common knowledge. I learned this in a way that cost me something. Years ago, I mentioned to a family member that I had a sum of money set aside quietly, something I had saved over many years without telling anyone. Within a few months, that information had traveled further than I had ever intended, and the relationships around it shifted, quietly, permanently. When people know your financial position, they begin to calculate. They may not mean to, but the calculation happens. What they might one day receive, whether you need help or whether you can give it, whether you are a resource. Privacy around money is not dishonesty, it is wisdom. The second thing is your future plans. Before a plan is certain, before the decision is made and the papers are signed and the thing is actually done, keep it to yourself. I have watched people share large plans and then watch those plans shrink. Not because the plan was wrong, but because other people's doubt, other people's concerns, other people's quiet lobbying got inside the thinking before the idea was strong enough to carry the weight. I once considered changing a significant part of my will. I mentioned it before I had decided anything, before I had spoken to my solicitor, and somehow that information reached my children before I had made a single decision. The conversations that followed were exhausting and unnecessary. I had simply spoken too soon. Execute quietly, announce after. The sequence matters. The third thing is your private pain. Now, I want to be careful here because I am not saying you should suffer alone. You should have people you can be honest with. You should not carry everything in silence. But there is a difference between sharing your pain with one trusted person who will hold it carefully and spreading your wounds across too many people. After my husband Edward passed away 6 years ago, I was raw in a way I had not expected. And in that first year of grief, I made the mistake of sharing too much with too many. Some held it well. Others used it in ways I had not anticipated. 1 or 2 shared things I had considered private with people who had no business knowing. Grief is sacred. Choose the people you let near it with as much care as you would choose a surgeon. Not everyone who asks how you are is equipped to handle the real answer. The fourth thing is your next move. This is slightly different from your plans. Your next move is the practical thing you are about to do, the boundary you are about to set, the difficult conversation you are about to have, the relationship you are about to step back from. When you tell someone what you are about to do, you give them time to prepare a response, to lobby, to position themselves before you have had the chance to act. I once made the mistake of mentioning to someone in my family that I was considering pulling back on how much I supported one of my children financially. I said this before I had decided anything, before I had spoken to that child, and before I had taken a single step. There were already conversations happening that made the whole thing far more complicated than it needed to be. Move first, explain after. The fifth thing is your regrets. I do not mean all regrets. I mean the ones that involve other people who are still alive and still in your life. When you say to someone, "I regret how that turned out," or "I wish I had done that differently," you are handing them something, and not everyone handles it carefully. Regrets shared with the wrong person become a story. They become something someone files away and produces at the worst possible moment. They become the version of you that someone else carries and shares without your permission. I have spoken about some of my regrets with my daughter Caroline, because she is someone who holds things with real care and discretion. But most of what I carry from this long life lives quietly inside me. That is exactly where it belongs. The sixth thing, and this one surprises people: keep your quiet kindness private. The help you give, the money you lend, the things you do for people without being asked. Do not announce it. Do not catalog it. Do not remind people of it. I spent years giving generously and keeping a quiet record, not to hold over anyone, simply because I needed to feel that it mattered, that it was being noticed. What I have come to understand is that when you attach your kindness to acknowledgement, you poison it. You turn a gift into a transaction, and the person who received your kindness begins to feel the weight of what they owe, rather than the warmth of having been loved. The kindness that asks for nothing, that leaves no trail, that expects nothing in return, that is the kindness that changes people. And in my experience, it finds its way back to you. Not always from the person you gave it to, but it finds its way back. Give quietly, fully, and then let it go. So there they are, 6 things to protect: your financial situation, your future plans, your private pain, your next move, your regrets, and your quiet kindness. Privacy is not coldness. It is not building walls or pushing people away. It is the quiet understanding that not everything you carry needs to be carried by everyone else. Some things are yours. They are allowed to stay yours. I upload every single evening. If today is your first time sitting with me, I would very much like you to come back tomorrow. The subscribe button is just below. Take care of yourself today. Come sit with me.